design makes a disproportionate impact. There are so many Google products that have just failed. We have faced a lot of, adverse times. I call it graceful degradation of experience.
Wow.
Value is permanent, circumstances change.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Pathfinders, our podcast series from Success Alchemists. Pathfinders, as we all know, is a story where entrepreneurs are captured by bringing out the lessons that they learned along to translate their hard work and effort into success. Today, I'm really happy that we have our guest, Samir, the founder and CEO of Huge. Samir started his journey like most of us after having pursued education and having been with some reputed companies. Then he took that leap of faith to start something on his own. And what is remarkably different is that instead of having either diversified, he has been clear about the track that he wants to follow, and the company is growing leaps and bounds. I am really excited and I look forward to an interesting podcast shoot here today to learn more and more about the industry and to get a glimpse of the thought leadership that Samir brings along with us. Thank you so much, Samir, for sparing time with us.
Thank you for having me.
It's a great pleasure to have somebody from a field which is not often discussed in public domain because it is a niche industry to some extent even now. And it is rapidly growing because of digitalization and the way the customer interaction has now been happening. So let's take a step back to early 2000s when you were still a budding career aspirant. But were you clear even at that point in time that eventually you will have something on your own?
My basic training is in industrial engineering. And I worked across this entire Pune manufacturing belt as a consultant of industrial engineering. And I was actually doing man-machine system design. It was a holistic system design. So when you enter a manufacturing plant, when you look at an assembly line or designing of an assembly line or the workplace, you have to look at all the factors, not just what the person is doing, but how the inventory is flowing, how the work steps are happening, right? What is the time that is required for each of those steps? How can you balance the line? Plus, what is the mentality of the people who are working there? What is their mindset? What are the factors that are affecting them? Whether it's an environment factor, whether it's a management factor, whether it's the policies and everything. And we used to give a holistic review of what is affecting work and then change that workplace completely.
Means workflow consultation?
Yeah.
Or beyond that?
Beyond work study, time study. So it was business process reengineering. It included ISO 9000. I am a certified auditor of ISO 9000 as well.
Wow.
So I practiced that for almost 5.5, 6 years before suddenly, I figured out I want to go to the US and I did my master's in human factors there. So industrial engineering degree, then master's in human factors. I also have a degree in MBA. Meanwhile, I did that before going there. And human factors really taught me what is the power of human advantages and limitations. And human factors as applied to the digital media was then called usability. It wasn't even called user experience. So it was limited to usability, testing, and then some design. So that's how this entire field grew from there, especially after the dot-com bust. And coming back to your question, I was clear that design makes a huge impact. Design makes a disproportionate impact. And when applied early in the process, it actually helps all the parties involved. Not just the customers, not just the users, but also people who are, the manufacturing people or the people who are creating the products, right? They also get helped in a way that they save costs. So I was very clear on that design is the core and design makes disproportionate value.
But when you say something like design, a wrong design can lead to failure. Could you share a few examples of a wrong design really leading to failure and available in public domain?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you recall the early 2000s till about 2010, most of the software products, 90% of them failed because of wrong product market fit. Take the example of Google, right? You remember Google Wave? Have you anybody heard of that?
No.
There are so many Google products that have just failed. We only know about Google Search, which is a grand success, by the way.
Right.
But there are so many other products by Google Labs that have failed because of not having this product market fit, or probably not having the design aspect of that.
Will it be appropriate to say that it's not just about the design of the final product, but it's about mapping the entire customer journey and making sure every touch point is in line with the guidelines as well as it is consistent, and therefore the role of your company is to make sure, having understood first of all the journey of the customer of your client, and then take them through it.
Absolutely. No, even before that, there is a step.
Is it?
Yeah, even before that, there is an expectation matching with the customers or the users of the product. And it is called the user view or user mental model versus the system mental model, which is the product.
Then just before the shoot started, you shared a really interesting insight about the origin of the name of your company, Huge. It's not Huge Designs anymore. It is Huge.
It is Huge now. It used to be Huge Designs when we started.
Okay.
And Huge actually is a Sanskrit word. It is the root of yoga. And it is a joining word between two Sanskrit words. And once you put Huge in between, it kind of changes the meaning of both the words. And so just like yoga aligns mind, body, and soul, we tend to align business, technology, and users. That's our main job. So on one hand, there are business expectations and business goals. Other hand, there is user expectations and user goals. And the third, there are technology constraints or advantages. So we have to marry all three of them. And that's where Huge is aligning all of these three things. That's how the name was.
Yeah. Really profound. Really profound. I loved it. And I'm looking at the camera now because I want to tell everybody that more than 20 years ago, when there was somebody on the drawing board trying to give shape to their dreams of what that company should look like or what will they get into, and to have thought through so deeply about what the name should be, itself is a reflection of the level of commitment you had towards that idea, isn't it? When we say that the level of commitment was really high, but was it easy for you to have taken that leap of faith that I don't want to be an employee anymore, I would rather do something on my own?
I think I am sort of a risk taker. If you see, when I went to the US to do my master's, I already had a kid and wife here. My kid was 2 years old. So I took that leap of faith then to upgrade myself. And then after about, 10, 12 years of working after my master's, I took this leap of faith. And interestingly, normally people say that, oh, there would be a lot of potential in this business, right?
Correct.
Funnily enough, when we started in India and from India, there was absolutely no market in India and very tiny supply of good designers. So both the things, demand as well as supply, were really adversaries to us when we started the business. So we've come from that particular, moment to today, when design is, 1 in or 2 in 5 people I talk to students, they are on the UX.
What is it that you think differentiates a very typical American client of yours with a Indian client of yours? And how do you, I would preempt your answer by saying, how do you overcome that challenge?
Okay. One clear stark difference is the maturity in terms of design, the understanding of design itself. Okay. With American companies, you don't have to educate them, climb that hump first. Why is design important? Why is research important? Why is, going to the customers and talking to them even before you write a single line of code important, right? That hump is not there because they understand that design is important. What they're looking for is contextually how you can help me better. Have you done that kind of work? What's the ROI? What are the KPIs that you've achieved, so on and so forth, right?
Okay.
With Indian customers, it is, first we have to do the education part of it.
Right.
Why is it important? Why do we need to do user research?
Yeah. In what way will the industry get impacted by proliferation of AI? And how are you as a company preparing yourself for it? How are you strengthening yourselves and leveraging on it?
So bad news travels fast. We've already seen the effects of what AI can do, right? For example, certain tools like Cursor, they can write code for you.
Yes.
And some big tech companies are claiming that 40% code is written by AI.
Which means 40% manpower cost reduction.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have already let go of certain people.
Is it
for
true?
for some other reason. They're not saying because of AI efficiency.
But that's the reality.
Because that's a reality. Because that's a
Okay.
reality. And that's what we also have seen. When we started looking at these AI tools and started embedding that in our methodology, we got efficiencies at scale up to 30% on projects. So the same project we used to do, let's say in about 4 months, we could do that in less than 3 months, right? And so this we implemented about 1.5 years ago itself. So we created a new way of working. I can give you an example. Initially, whenever you say user-centered design, it used to be the first step where you go and talk to users, like a primary research, then do secondary research, and so on and so forth. And then you could make a hypothesis.
Right.
Today with AI, even before you talk the first kickoff meeting, before you talk to the stakeholders, you can generate a hypothesis, which is decent.
Yes.
Because of, the information that is available, because of the secondary research, sources that we have. And therefore, it has also impacted the way of working. And definitely, what we are doing is we are teaching all our designers how to use AI tools. Through different hackathons, we've changed our methodology. For each of the steps that we have a set of, tools or tool stack of AI, and they can leverage on that.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that those tools can give you 100% output. They'll give you a starting point. And that is good enough to start, but there is still something that the designer can bring in to say, is this input and output the right one for the given context?
Okay. All right.
So that is happening, and we have to teach them that.
Right.
I also see that the next wave is going to be of agentic AI. And you already see that.
Yes.
Every day you have new agents coming.
Yeah.
And I feel, it's my opinion, that who better to design agents than designers?
That's a great opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So I've been writing about that. I've been looking at different, point of view, POCs, pilots. In fact, we have developed our own software, own platform to create agents, multiple agents, which is called Design Mind. And we are teaching that to all our designers so that they can have that agentic point of view, agentic lens, whenever they're working on all different projects.
Wow. But as an entrepreneur who your entire team looks up to, it is necessary to have a view of the future.
Yeah.
And besides having a view of the future, there are a few other things that keep you anxious sometimes. So what are the top 3 things that you think you are anxious about when you sit back and try and reflect on which direction is the business heading?
What keeps me awake? One, definitely customer acquisition, because customer preferences are also changing and their behavior is also changing.
Okay.
Right? The customer expectation that was yesterday, that I would do this project in 3 months.
Right.
And then develop it within 3 months, and then next year I will launch it.
Right.
Has completely gone for a toss.
Good.
Now they expect everything in half the time and half the price. And it is still in transition. So,
Okay.
number 2 is how do you kind of communicate the value of design. And this is generic to not just India, but to all geographies, right? Because as I said, design can add disproportionate value. But all products that you see today, they are going after short-term value that can give you instant gratification.
Right.
And nobody is really looking at what's the long-term value,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is it the right problem to solve? Is it the right problem to solve for the humans involved or not? So even if you take the examples of agentic AI, right?
Right.
When people are developing agents,
Mm-hmm.
so 10 agents in a CSR customer service rep
Right.
kind of situation,
Yeah.
10 people who's going to lose their jobs,
Correct.
right?
Right.
And some people are predicting, yeah, okay, they will get something else. What is that something else?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is able to tell right now. Okay, so that's another thing.
Okay.
And the third thing on my mind is a corollary to this is design itself is so fragmented today, right? If you want to, let's say, design banking space, you don't come to a UX designer, you go to an interior designer.
Right.
You want to design an application that is in that particular space, you go to a UX designer. If you want to do something with the interaction of people, then you go to a service designer. Why this? It has to be a holistic design, the big D, I would say, which combines all the disciplines, right? You have to solve a business problem, you have to solve a business problem. My footfalls are falling for this particular 10 branches. Simple problem. This is a business problem. You can look at it from a digital angle, you can look at it from a space angle, you can look at it from a service angle, anything for that matter.
Okay.
Or even the products and policies of the bank, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the holistic design that I would like to, kind of talk about and educate people moving forward.
I wanted to ask you on a slightly different track that how do you measure success? There are conventional parameters like revenue or bottom line or team size or how many offices do you have or how many new logos did you get on board. But if there is one single number that gives you satisfaction or dissatisfaction, what would that be?
So it's basically the value that we add to the customer's products.
Is it measurable?
It is measurable in a qualitative way. CSAT or NPS.
Oh,
And looking at customers who come again and again.
sometimes I'm sure there have been interactions with your potential clients where there is a lot of data backed proposed design, which you recommend that this is the forward path. But the potential client is adamant that no, this is not how it should be. You tweak it and do it differently. And there's a lot of money on the table. So as a designer, do your ethics sometimes kick in and you walk away, or do you give in and you compromise?
I call it graceful degradation of experience.
Wow. I like that.
So there's a lot of times when, and primary reasons, we can't do this technologically because we are set up in a particular way, right? So what do? You compromise the designs in a way that the experience is not hampered to that extent.
So it's like how to say no without saying no. Is that what you do?
Yeah. No, but we actually change a little bit to fit it within the boundaries. And when the experience, if the experience is getting broken completely, we put our foot down. So what I say is value is permanent, circumstances change. So your customers change, your people will change, but the value you have provided to the customer remembers that all the time.
Thank you for watching this episode. And as usual, here are my 3 key takeaways. Takeaway number 1, and I'm quoting Samir this time, that circumstances are temporary, but the value is permanent.
Yeah.
And he cited an example where a client came back to him after 15 years of gap only because of the value extended in the previous engagement. And that's why businesses should focus on ensuring that the value delivery is maximized. The second key takeaway that I'm gathering here today is that there may be different options to diversify the business into, but one of these strategies that Samir has successfully demonstrated for his own company is to stay focused, really razor sharp focus on core, and the core is design. So instead of moving up or down the value chain in terms of development, deployment, or delivery, the company has continued to stay focused on the core. And that's a great strategy in play. The third key takeaway is for everybody who is planning on entering the corporate world or starting up own business, that it's not just about acquiring knowledge through education, but it's also about learning new skills which will help you in stakeholder management. I want to thank Samir once again for the time today. And please do write to us about your feedback on this episode. We will catch up with you. We will come up with the next episode soon. Until then, keep scaling up.